Welcome. It is our Wednesday evening meditation and sutra study, and we will begin with our meditation portion. Okay, thank you everybody. We'll take a few moments and then move into our Sutra study portion of the evening. Okay. Those that can see the screen, is that big enough or you need it bigger?
I'm just gonna listen, so I don't even see it, but anyway.
Yeah, and I can manually zoom in on the screen too, so it works fine.
Okay. Excuse me. Then I believe this is our last stopping point, July 29th. Yeah. Cool. Jasmine, being that you're traveling, do you still want to go back and forth, or just have me read and as you would like, you can add some insight.
I'll lean on you to read this time if you don't mind.
Okie doke.
Thank you.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Just a moment. Oh, there we go. Okay. Ananda adjusted his robe, brought his palms together, and prostrated himself with his head at the feet of the Buddha. He rejoiced at his good understanding of the mind and for the benefit of coming generations, bowed again, and said, O great, compassionate, and world-honored one, I have now awakened to the Dharma gateway, to Buddhahood, by means of right practice, about which I have no more doubt. I have always heard the Buddha speak of bodhisattvas, who before their own liberation set their minds on freeing others, and of Buddhas who, after their own complete enlightenment, appeared in the world to enlighten others. Though I am not yet liberated, I now vow to deliver all living beings in the Dharma ending age. World-honored one, future generations will gradually move farther away from the Buddha, and heretics, as many as the sand grains in the Ganges, in order to control their minds for entry into samadhi, what should they do to set up seats of study and learning, to keep the demon away and avoid failure of the mind set on enlightenment? The Buddha praised Ananda and said, Excellent, Ananda, excellent. You ask about the setting up of Bodhi mandalas for the protection of living beings against failure in the Dharma ending age. Listen attentively to what I now tell you. Ananda and the assembly reverently awaited the teaching. The Buddha said, Ananda, you have always heard me teach about discipline, which consists in the practice of 3 decisive steps. The control of mind, called sila, which leads to stillness, and thence to wisdom. This is called the threefold study of the Sutra mundane way. Ananda, why is control of mind called sila? If all living beings in the 6 worlds of existence abstain from sexual desire, they will not be subject to the continual round of births and deaths. Your practice of samadhi should free you from defilements, but they cannot be eliminated if your lustful mind is not wiped out. Even after you have acquired such wisdom, if you fail to kill sensuality, then when dhyana manifests, you will fall into the way of demons, in which their king takes the high, his male subjects the middle, and his female subjects the low rank. These demons have their following and boast of having attained the supreme path. After my nirvana in the Dharma ending age, these subjects of Mara will be found everywhere, will encourage sensuality, and will disguise themselves as men of good counsel, and cause living beings to fall into the pit of lust, thereby missing the Bodhi path. You should teach worldly men who practice samadhi to cut off their lustful minds at the very start. This is called the Buddha's profound teaching of the first decisive deed. Therefore, Ananda, if carnality is not wiped out, the practice of dhyana is like cooking gravel to make rice. Even if it is boiled for hundreds and thousands of aeons, it will be only hot gravel. Why? Because instead of rice grains, it contains only stones. If you set your lustful mind on seeking the profound fruit of Buddhahood, whatever you may realize will be carnal by nature. If your root is lustful, you will have to transmigrate through 3 unhappy ways, from which you will not escape. How then can you find... Oh, yes, take over.
Thank you. Notice the root is lustfulness. That if you, let's see, based on usage, if you were to assess your situation and you found that you were lusting, I mean, what would be some good examples of lusting? Okay, I'm gonna take a diversion here if you don't mind. Okay, I lust to eat. I mean, gasp everybody, because we're still tied to that opportunity to have lust. Whether we give into it or not is up to us. But the lust is to eat potato chips and cheese, right? And potato chips and cheese are not particularly healthy. And I could do garbanzo beans and broccoli, which is much healthier. But I choose the potato chips and cheese because it's convenient. Because I have not set up a place for my garbanzo beans and broccoli. And so the idea would be to make sure that you have accounted for that location so that I can have the right choice, which would be garbanzo beans and broccoli, and not give in to the lust through hunger of convenience.
So
Um,
it sounds
yeah,
like, if you don't mind,
thank
it
you.
sounds like the lust is the convenience aspect, not the food itself.
Yeah, it really is convenience. I mean, I want it now. I want it now because I'm hungry now. And yeah, exactly. And the path to inconvenience is studded with pain and suffering. But the
Mm.
interesting part is I have an opportunity to prepare. So let's say I prepare and I have it so that I skillfully can obtain the garbanzo beans and broccoli without suffering.
Mhm.
Therein lies the intention. So the intention has to be looked into as to the use of lust. Go ahead.
So then if you pre-prepare, if you're going to kill the root of the lust for convenience, then pre-preparing might not kill the root. I mean, because
You're
it can
absolutely
go
correct. You're
it can
absolutely
go
correct.
both ways. Yeah,
Yeah,
it can
you're
be productive or
absolutely
unproductive lust.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely correct. And then it wouldn't be that, it would be the end of suffering. Because the suffering arises because I cannot obtain what I need when I need it. And what I'm doing is defaulting to something that is less healthy because I don't have what I need when I need it. And I haven't prepared. So it comes
Mm.
back to, intention, and it comes back to preparing. And I
Mhm.
love the opening statement of this section, in that it has to do with integrity. I think integrity. If you want to highlight this section for guidelines for our students, that'd be wonderful. But there has to be this truth. I mean, you're willing to tell the truth about your situation, and saying, my gosh, I have not provided for the ability to obtain the thing I need. So I have been negligent.
Would this
Yeah,
also
but
And
touch on?
yeah.
Would this also touch on the fermentations? Right use, right view, because it's not wrong to be hungry, but it's wrong to use your hunger to make unskillful choices.
well, in my case, and that is true. Yes. My case, though, it goes one step further back. It goes back to making choices that are not productive for my upholding of my needs. So the idea that I have a cluttery kitchen and nothing is in order, and I'm always behind the eight ball trying to catch up with things, means that I haven't made room for that important condition.
Do you mind if I challenge that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because it sounds like, and I might be misinterpreting what you're saying, It sounds like you're saying that you won't be able to cut off your lust unless you prepare, which is connecting it back to an external.
Well, maybe it's not lust then.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not lust. Maybe the
Yeah.
desire. No, I can tell you it's desire. I can tell you it is. Because I could choose the path of suffering in order to squelch the path of desire, right? But the interesting part is that lust comes into it as a byproduct of unskillful actions prior to that.
So, just to clarify, I think we all have our skill level. I mean, I think any one of us would become unskillful if we didn't have access to food after a certain point. But
But how much
I
of that
mean,
how much of that is due to my associating my activities with prioritizing? So if I were to prioritize my needs, then it would change the proclivity to desire.
hmm. And maybe, I mean, I think a lot of us get stuck in loops where we end up sabotaging ourselves by not taking care of ourselves so we can feed that desire because it's satisfying.
Well, yeah, and that would definitely be not productive, but I'm not doing that for sure because I would, it's funny because I would definitely rather have, my garbanzo beans and broccoli than my chips and cheese. I mean, that's kind of so I guess that's a revealer of the lack of desire because it's really not desire. It's just it's the alternative. It's the
Desperation?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah, but it's due to um poor or I think Pops put it so wonderfully, due to poor prioritization.
Okay, so um okay, so I see okay, so maybe um a straightforward connection I'm seeing here is like if you were to take this conversation and go and prepare, and you prepare from a mind state of it's going to be nice to be able to make garbanzo beans and broccoli. So nice to be able to take care of
Ah,
myself. That would be
yeah, but
lustful
that
too.
that would be lustful too. Exactly. Um, but I think the one is the lust for something that causes harm versus the lust for something that causes good. There's a definite long-term damage to lust for something that is bad.
Well, check this out. So
Cool.
here in the sutra, he says, if you set your lustful mind on seeking the profound fruit of Buddhahood, whatever you may realize will be carnal by nature. So even if it is good, the fruit of
It's
Buddhahood.
still, yeah, it's still going to be carnal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can't look at it in terms of that meeting that goal of what is righteous in terms of, our practice. I have to look at it in terms of what is right and good just on its own that is carnal. And I mentioned that before about how I noticed that there's a need to acknowledge the body. And we're
Mhm.
still in the body, we need to be acknowledging the body. And we can't dissociate from the body. So there wouldn't be any, this idea of mind is great, free the mind so we can see clearly the body and we can guide the body into right choice.
Mhm.
Until you free the mind, you can't really free the body because then the mind is still tethered to the body and but I have noticed that it's been a confun what's the word, a kerfuffle. It's been a kerfuffle where by which I would quiet my mind, but I still had physical, you know, choices. You know, I still had to attend to the hunger of the body. I still had to attend to the cleaning of the body, you know? And I mean, so you get these, that's wonderful and all that you can quiet the mind. But I do believe that when the Buddha talks about in this sutra, you know, that which is real versus unreal, you know, you still are, as long as you are alive, um, you're still subject to the conditions of living. And so that's really important. And he does attend to that in this sutra. So I'm not suggesting he does not. But from my whole entire Buddhist practice and from my, you know, ordination and everything, it was mind focused. And that's wonderful and that's fantastic. But you reach a point in which the mind, you know, is one thing, and you have to at some point acknowledge the body. And I think that's really important to understand in staging this, that mind is first. Because otherwise, if you don't have mind under control, your mind will be dictated by the whims of the body. And then your mind in good order, then attend to the body. And that's what this is about now for me, is attending to the body and making choices and prioritizing based on what's good for my body. But anyway, that's, yeah, thank you.
Well, and I can also reflect on that and say, it sounds like a good reflection on our practice and what it is we're trying to teach as an order, that we are in the world. We are practicing in environments that is not an isolated monastic environment, and so you do have to pay attention to all these things, whether it's, you know, dealing with hunger, food, desire, of the body, or of the mind. Unlike a monastic environment where all that is taken care of for you, so you really don't have to worry about it or ever encounter necessarily struggles with it. This is, I would say, it can be more difficult.
Yeah, it is. I'm, as I'm listening to you, I'm reflecting that I do believe it has to be mind first. And mind first because it's really easy to not be able to discern the difference between mind and body if you include body with the mind. So you have to perfect the practice of the Supreme Bodhi first so that you can clearly see what is a distraction of the body versus a distraction of the mind. Because the mind will create conditions to distract the body or create conditions to allow the body to have what it wants. But the bottom line is you have to kind of balance them, but skillfully with control of the mind first. Anyway, my input.
For sure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Anyway, proceed. Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, oh. Might be reading the latter part of this paragraph again. That's okay. How then can you find the way to cultivate the Tathagata's nirvana? You should cut off both the sensual body and mind until even the very idea of doing so ceases. Only then can you hope to seek the Buddha's enlightenment. This teaching of mine is that of the Buddha, whereas any other one is that of evil demons.
Oh, can you highlight that? Because yeah, that's the effort. So read that first sentence you read at the beginning again.
How then can you find the way to cultivate the Tathagata's nirvana? you should cut off both the sensual body and mind until even the very idea of doing so ceases.
Okay, do you see that? Go ahead and stop there. Do you see that's exactly what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So when my mind is confused by what is right and what is wrong, then I should sit until everything is quiet, and then I can understand it better. Is that what that reads? Does everybody agree that's what that reads?
Yeah, I view that and this whole paragraph together as like we were talking about, you had to have control of the mind first, because everything is going to stem from that. Everything will stem from that. So if your mind is not under control and you don't have Supreme Bodhi, then even things that may be quote unquote good are not good.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so it's very esoteric. This is very, and by esoteric I mean very what is the word? Delicate. This is very delicate. So you really have to talk to your teacher. You have to really go through and ask them questions about, what is right use. Anyway, that's my input. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. Let's see, how much further is this section? Let us Let us finish this next paragraph and then we might call it there. Ananda, if living beings in the 6 worlds of existence cease to kill, they will not be subject to the continual round of births and deaths. Your practice of samadhi should free you from defilements, but if your murderous mind is not cut off, they cannot be eliminated. You may acquire much wisdom, but if you fail to stop killing, when dhyana manifests, you will fall into the way of spirits, in which the high rank is attained by the mighty ghost, the middle one by flying yaksas and chief ghosts, and the low one by earthbound rakshasas. These have followers and bows that they have attained the supreme path. After my nirvana in the Dharma ending age, these ghosts will be found throughout the world, and will boast of how they feed on flesh which leads them to realize Bodhi. Ananda, I permit the bhikshus to eat only the 5 kinds of pure flesh, which are the product of my transcendental power of transformation and not of animal slaughter. You, Brahmin, live in a country where vegetables do not grow because it is too damp and hot, and because of all the gravel and rock. I use my spiritual power of compassion to provide you with illusory meat to satisfy your appetite. How then, after my nirvana, can you eat the flesh of living beings, and so pretend to be my disciple? You should know that those who eat meat, though their minds may open and realize a semblance of samadhi, are but great rakshasas, who after this life will sink back into the bitter ocean of samsara and cannot be my disciples. Let me finish this sentence right quick. They will kill and devour one another ceaselessly. How then can they escape from the 3 worlds of existence? Teiko, yes.
All right. So I ceased many, many, many years ago consumption of animal product to have sustenance. I mean, other than my test of our meat for our dogs' benefit, it's entirely different. Because we make our own dog food. But when it comes to the killing of living being, even so much as to not harm an ant or a flying little fly or fruit fly or a larva fruit fly. I mean, the other day I took out a little critter that was in my sink in the bathroom, and I found a nice place in the backyard so it could exist. And then I also found on the romaine of my lettuce an inchworm, and I took it out. I looked up on the internet what an inchworm enjoys, and it enjoys apple trees. So I have an apple tree in the yard, and I put it on the apple tree. So at the end of that, once you have realized that level, the next one I have to ask you is when our own bodies become the consumption. So, for instance, the harm to my body as a result of my decisions then becomes that carnality. Um, I mean, specifically the consumption of the cheese and the potato chips, although cheese might be a questionable, object based on the suffering of cows or calves, which I have yet to reconcile with my nutritional needs, which is another thing that I have to investigate. But not more importantly, equally important is the subsequent harm that comes to myself from choosing to eat things that I don't prepare adequately for in order to avoid. So, do you see how that may fall into that harm to living beings would be harm to my own living being?
Yeah.
This
It's
is
this
true.
this it's the same with me traveling, and eating out and yeah, significantly significant suffering of my body and of, the cells and all the different organisms that help support my body. It is suffering. Yeah.
So by by choice, you choose something that's more convenient up front
Hmm.
because you have not obtained Bodhi, just like me. And rather than reaching to obtain Bodhi, you give in to that which is carnal, the desire to have whatever it is you need based on whatever it is that you need to have it by.
So
Yeah.
it's interesting because this trip, I'm doing really well eating what I'm supposed to eat. I don't have nearly as much swelling as I usually do. But then I noticed that the carnality can also swing the other way. The carnality can take the form of, I feel really good and I want to feel this way again.
I don't know if that's so much the carnality. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is a desire to make the body happy. I
Hmm.
think it's a matter of I had this question posed to me by people long, long time ago. And I always resolved it by saying, seek to calm the mind first. So you're welcome to satisfy the body in a way that is productive and skillful and good, but do so with quiet mind being the forefront of your effort. Once you have
Hmm.
quiet mind, then the outcome is not so carnal. It's not.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. And whether you're coming from, whether you're going to that neutral place from a positive, constructive, lustful feeling, like I feel really good and I want to feel this way again, or a negative, destructive feeling, like I want chips and cheese.
Ha
Both
ha ha ha
both
ha.
need resolution. Yeah. And to the center point, center, neutral, whatever you want to call it, peaceful, and then yeah, exactly.
Well,
Oh, cool.
it's a great revealer because to have such great capacity to take care of living beings, right? To do right by other living beings would mean you have to do right by yourself as a living being. It also becomes a revealer in that um, um, you can't do harm to yourself or others um, really without ignorance. After a while, or with ignorance, because for sure yourself, you know if you're going to engage in something that would be harmful. And so by having that Supreme Bodhi mind first, you're going to be confronted with that choice, that knowing choice that am I or am I not going to engage in something that will be harmful to me?
Exactly, exactly. So the conundrum comes when you've grown up in an environment whereby which you sacrifice yourself in order to attend to the needs of others.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's been a long standing tradition in my life, I know, to sacrifice my body in order to serve others. I mean, it's not easy to take care of these little critters. I get my wash water ready and I find there's a little fly in it. I take the little fly out and take it to the kitchen. I have to rinse it off. I put it in my paper towel and, blow on it a little bit and make sure that it maybe gets to be outside if it recovers. And so that is not something that is necessarily conducive to the well-being of the body because I've sacrificed myself in order to do so. So this paradigm of the paradigm of losing my peace because I think I don't have to, the thinking that this is an inconvenience and oh my God, now I have to do this. So
It
yeah,
it
yeah,
becomes a prioritization issue at that point. It becomes
it
is it
does.
going to kill you to extend yourself that far? And if it isn't, then is it worth watching the living creature die
Well, no,
because you
no,
don't
no, no,
want to?
none. Yeah, not even that far. Not even that far. Because it's just doing. You either do it or
Mhm.
you don't do it, and you know you're going to do it because it's the right thing to do. So why am I putting myself through this hell in order to decide that this
Thinking
is
about it. Yeah.
unexpected? This is unexpected, which has nothing to do with reality because the bug was there to begin with. So my thinking it should be different is erroneous. So it's a self-created hell that I put
Yeah.
myself in by thinking it should be different. This is it. And so this idea of being, present and just doing what needs to be done has always been my focus.
And
But that's why I
there's
talk about it. Yeah, go ahead.
there's always gonna be another level to it as well. So yeah,
There is.
thinking about it
Yeah.
isn't like with the bugs, I get that. I get that at work, and my trip to take them out and take care of them is much further sometimes. Like I have to, walk from one side of the warehouse to the other and then take care of them and then let them out and then get back to, where I was, what I was doing. Um, and yeah, it's hard and it's inconvenient. And then the same thing with like the masks. I'm wearing masks because the facility has a mold problem and I don't want to react. I'm trying to take care of myself, but it's really hot. And where I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if you've ever had to wear a mask in 90 degrees with 90% humidity, but it's terrible.
I have.
Definitely have to challenge that sense of carnality. Don't want to rip the mask off.
Oh, yeah, make sure you're wearing something cool. Or, get something put on your head that's wet or, maybe a undergarment that's wet, that can help you diffuse that heat away from your body. Because heat exhaustion is not cured by, excessive water consumption. You can still
Absolutely.
have heat exhaustion. Yeah. And then give yourself permission to sweat. I've noticed that one of the things that's happened in this effort is I've been able to control my body and directly. And if I tell my body not to sweat because it's yucky,
Hmm.
it won't sweat. And
Yeah.
self permission
Good
to sweat. But anyway,
good idea. And then permission to go slow is, I mean, that's something that you and Robert have always done, is doing things slowly and carefully. And that's always much more skillful than just wanting to get it done. And it's very conducive to this overcoming of carnality because I can take care of myself, but I have to go slower, you know?
Yeah, yeah. One thing to note that like when I fill up my bucket in the bathtub for my washing dishes, um, I've noticed that I'm not present with my body at the time I'm doing it. I'm thinking about how
Mm.
I want this to go faster, um, and I'm going to pick it up, but it's not going to be It's not going to be helpful. I'm not going to like it. I'll have to bend over and pick it up. But if I'm present with the body before I do any of that, then I find it much easier to handle. So, there's yeah, I feel for you. I don't know what I would do. That's where youth plays a part. I don't think I could work with when in the circumstances you're in. But then I would just wear a wet t-shirt. I would wear a wet t-shirt with my, my my, what do
Well,
you call
and
that?
there are other ways to do it too. There are,
Under
the cooling
under
rags.
my appropriate undergarments, let's just put it that way.
And there are
Um,
personal fans, so there are ways to combat that situation. But
okay, good.
mine is more of a mental, like if you have a mask on and it's hot outside, it feels so much hotter than like mentally. Like my body is fine, but just having my face constricted like that can just make me think about things like so hot. Um,
Well, yeah, another thing you could do if you don't mind my input is you could take your mask off and you could tell your body just suck it up. If you're gonna react to what's in the air, well, you can have the mask on or have mask off. And it's interesting how that changes the reaction to the mask. If your body
oh,
views it as yeah, your body views it as a good thing instead of a bad thing, instead of putting something through trauma, they trying to make it realize it's for its own good.
mm.
Sometimes it's a matter of you know, releasing yourself from the mask and saying, "Okay, here you go."
Interesting.
Yeah. And then,
So it
That's
really is
yeah.
a unique
Anyway.
thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Robbie.
say that's I think that hold on, still got it. Still got it. Um that's why it's so important, this practice of keeping that mind in Supreme Bodhi, because um, then you're able to negate all these taints that are going to um, basically make you misread the situation. So, and with Supreme Bodhi, you're able to be there, sit with the reality of what's going on, and make decisions that are going to be based in reality and not in those mental fabrications or those, whatever's going on.
Wow. Could you note that, please? Make a note of everything you just said. It's on the recording though, but that is incredibly. That's it. You just put everything in a nutshell perfectly. Thank you.
Well, and well, no, that's you guys listening to all the great things you guys are saying, and it just kind of made sense. It's like, yeah, that's why this practice is so valuable. So that if you do want to take your mask off, you can do so, and you can tell yourself this is what's going to happen, but you're not allowing yourself needless suffering because of it. The mental
Mm.
angle.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, that might
true.
might be meant later. Sorry. It might
But
mental
that's
language
future
later.
thinking.
Exactly, that's
Yeah,
future
yeah.
thinking.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly. I would, if I were you, I'd keep the mask on. And
yeah.
and I would emphasize when you get back to your, hotel at the end of the day, you really work on how wonderful it was you kept your mask on, because see how much better you feel.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, no, No problems at all. I'm just noticing, like, it's not a big challenge for me. I'm just noticing where noticing that carnality in everyday life, you know?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then just maybe put a heart, the symbol of a heart on the edge of your mask when you put it on to remind yourself that this is for you. When you talk about blessing objects, that's where that comes from.
That's a good
You're
idea.
taking the object, yeah, you're taking the object and you're embedding it with a certain kind of thinking that will overcome the thinking that is going to be difficult.
Mhm.
And so when you see that heart, let it remind you that this is a blessing, it's not a curse, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Cool.
Yeah. 6:49. Went over a little bit, but I think it was all very beneficial. Um, that might be where we stop for this evening. And next time, oh, really big now. Hold on. Next time we will continue. Uh-oh. Where am I? I've lost my place. Oh no.
Oh, been done that so many times.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Then, yeah, bottom of 216, so we'll start again at the top of 217. And let's add a comment. Okay, very cool.
I,
Thank you, everybody.
I've got one thing to add, if you don't mind, off of this. So one thing I've noticed with Supreme Bodhi and Zen practice is that, once you realize Supreme Bodhi, and you realize that is the answer, I don't know, those of you who are on the cusp of receiving your ordination, and that would be, Nick and Tim and Rob, um, that you're probably wondering, is that all there is to this? Where is all the other stuff? The shaving the head and the wearing the robes and the beads and the staff and the zendo and the chanting. That's all for awakened individuals. That's important. But really, when it comes down to it, it's kind of a feeling of disenchantment where you say to yourself, well, wait a minute, if this is all there is to it, what am I doing all this work for? Um, I mean, it is really important to take stock in your ability to provide for your own well-being skillfully and then communicate skillfully to others. It's opportunity to teach, I think, is where it goes after that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. To teach and to face and notice those early discomforts, like chanting. A lot of people have fear of public speaking, or they feel funny saying the words, bowing, that makes them uncomfortable. So it really is just an opportunity to bring that stuff up so you can deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was just like Rob was, for those who don't know, I was the chant master at Open Gate in Olympia for 6 years. I was the chant master, and he held services twice a week, and I had to be there twice a week, and it's a 30-mile round trip, twice a week. So 120 miles I was driving, and but I was the chant master for 6 years. So just so you know that it really does. I got so good at it, and I looked forward to it so much, and I loved it so much. You start out feeling very inadequate. You start out feeling like I'm going to make a mistake. You start out feeling like I don't like the way I sound or when I hear myself. And then it blooms into this wonderful appreciation for the message that you are sending when you sing. And it was wonderful. I absolutely loved it. But you know, Rob, when you do your chanting, the mantra right out of the Ashrangama Sutra that you do, it is definitely a call to return to the actual practice of Supreme Bodhi. So I love listening to it every time, and fantastic. Anyway, that's my input.
Oh, thank you. And it very much is. It matters a lot. The more and more I experience this practice of Supreme Bodhi, of Buddhism, it always comes back to the fundamentals. It's just always polishing and polishing and polishing the fundamentals.
Yep.
Everything we do, everything we encounter and do in our lives is just that opportunity to polish.
Yep, that's the truth. There you go. It always comes back to Supreme Bodhi, and we always have to practice, no matter how long we practiced. There's always, you know, my master used to say, it's like cleaning out your garage. And when the wind blows, it blows in leaves into your clean garage. And so you sweep them out. And every time the wind blows in more new leaves, you sweep them out. And it doesn't matter how long you've been sweeping them, there are always new leaves being blown in. And so you always sweep them out. And that's how it is. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everybody. And that will conclude our Wednesday night meditation and sutra study this week. And we'll catch you all again for the service on Sunday.
Nice. Thank you, Robbie.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Bye. Love you too. Bye.